Well, excited to finish out the regular season, get to be at home one more time in Ford Stadium for our seniors against a really good opponent. I mean, I think it'd be hard-pressed to find a better 6-5 team in America. And I think you can conservatively say they very, very easily should be 9-2. I mean, they've 5 one-score games and 2 or 3 of them, a very makeable kick away from winning those against good people. I mean, we saw what they did with Miami being up 35-10, I think, in the third quarter. So, got a lot of respect for Justin. He's done it well, done it the right way for a long time. Peter, the DC, I've gone against him before, and they're OCs from North Texas. So there's some familiarity, I'm sure on both sides. Offensively, the quarterback, Fernando Mendoza's teammates with Elijah Roberts from Columbus High School. I think they won a state championship together. So remember going by and seeing him. He's a gritty player. He willed them to win last week in a really special way. They got some good running backs. They got a couple really good wideouts, and they've been really steady on offense. And then defensively, I mean, this is probably the most complete defense we've played for sure in our league. I mean, there's a reason I think their D and our D are kind of 1 and 2 in a lot of the categories. They're similar in that there's not a lot of like just superstars. They're just a really good team defense. I know the corner Williams is really talented. They got a lot of talent on the back end. They're physical up front. They stop the run. They're big. They're physical. They got really good linebacker play. Their D-line, like I said, they're big. They can anchor and stop the run, and they just do a really good job. So got a real challenge ahead of us, and that's the way it's supposed to be at the end of the year.
Like you said, a chance, obviously, one more time at home. You guys control so much of what you can do as far as ACC championship, get to the college football playoff. Just talk about how important it is to finish it off right.
It is very important. We're playing for a lot of things this week. Yes, we know we get to play in the championship game regardless. That's nice to have that decided. But you got the college football playoff. Every game matters. That's what's so cool about it now. The regular season's important. So that's at play. We'd like to send our seniors out the right way at home. We'd like to go undefeated in the conference and win the regular season outright. And to your point, just at the end of the day, though, it's about finishing. When we got here 3 years ago, we wanted our program to be about finishing. I think we're 10-1 in November now. And so regardless of what happens Saturday, it's going to be 3 straight Novembers with a winning record in November. That's a big deal. But we sure would like to finish well in everything we do, particularly Saturday, to finish off the regular season, continue our momentum into the following week, hopefully continue to show the committee and others that we feel like we're worthy of continuing to play this year. And so for a lot of those reasons, it's important. But, yeah, you hit it right on the head. We want to finish well. And I think it's important to a lot of our seniors that we do that.
You talked about finishing mentality. Players have talked about a lot this season. How much of that is something that you guys try and recruit specifically? Hey, we know this guy's a good finisher. How much of it is we know we can get this guy to be, a player who can?
Yeah, I think both. I mean, it's everything from – you get what you emphasize to some degree. So we've emphasized that since we got here for now going on 3 years. And then we do try to recruit guys that are winners. They're used to finishing, expecting those kind of things. They have the character and the quality and the makeup along with the ability. And then sometimes you bring guys in that you got to teach them how to finish. And that's the coaching part too. And you hope if you've established it kind of in the DNA of your program and then you've got enough older guys that know how to do that. For instance, last year we did it. We won a championship. So we've accomplished that a little bit. And so now you hope it just kind of becomes a little bit of the expectation, a little bit of the DNA of your program for the new ones coming in, whether they're freshmen, transfers, and they just know, hey, that's what we do here. Like if you're going to play at SMU, we have a finishing mentality in everything we do. And it doesn't always mean you're going to win. And finishing isn't just about winning. You can finish a game and lose, But finishing is a great quality that we all need in life. And so we've just – it's a little bit of all of the above.
You mentioned earlier in the season, when you make a switch at quarterback, you better be sure because it usually doesn't.
Yeah.
And that BYU game, was it what you saw in those first 3 series, or was that a culmination of what you had seen to that point in the season?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's kind of 2-part. BYU was a little bit of a standalone game, but also – it was culminating to the point where we needed to do something at some point, one way or the other. I never envisioned doing it the way it happened in a game. I envisioned, hey, we'd play a game or 2 games or maybe 3, 4 at the most, and at some point we'd just say this is the direction it's going to go. And so I think leading up to that game, clearly we knew that we needed to decide here pretty quick for our team. We wanted to let it play out and happen, like to where it was almost like not our decision. I mean, yes, I had to make the decision, but like it kind of made it for us. So that was the plan and the goal, and it's tricky. In the BYU game specifically, I didn't intend – I mean, we had been playing them both in the first few games, so they were both going to play, but, like, there was no intention to make such a quick change in that game. But when you just looked at the first 4 drives – and again, I've said it before even that day, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't Preston's fault. It wasn't all his fault. It was a team deal. But we were going backwards when he was in, and we were going forwards when Kevin was in. And so in that moment, we gave Kevin a drive. We moved the football. We went back with him. We moved the football, and it was just like, look, we got 3 quarters to try to win this game. And right, wrong, or indifferent, that other stuff, we'll deal with it. Let's try to win this game. And that was the real reason in the moment. But also knowing that kind of when you do that, you've somewhat ripped the Band-Aid to some degree. And even after the game, even though we didn't find a way to win, I think we felt like that was the best decision for us. And so we went ahead and made it permanent.
Mac Brown was, I don't know if you know this, but was let go today. I don't know if you.
I got word at practice, but yeah.
Yeah, I have a relationship with him, and I know he's at the Texas Coaches Convention last year. Just your thoughts, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know of what led to that happening on Tuesday of the last week of the regular season. It's not my business, but I can speak to Mac. I mean, Mac and I aren't like close friends, but I've been blessed to get to know him a little bit, whether it be through ACC meetings, Texas high school coaches stuff, the Pebble Beach Coaches Classic. Him and Sally have been great to us. They're always very kind and welcoming, and you know, you can kind of pick his brain and get some advice from him. And I mean, he's done it the right way for a long time at North Carolina now twice, and at Texas. And I know a lot of coaches like me look up to how he did things with integrity. He won. He cares about his players. He did it the right way. So no, that was a little bit of a shock to me. Kind of miss him being around in our league. I think he's great for our league, but he's also done it for a long time. So, you know, I know just the most recent conversation I'd had at the end of the summer was with him was just like, and he's right. There's been more changes in the last 2 or 3 years of college football, he said, than the previous 40 years of his career. You know, it's changing a lot. So, yeah, big loss for our league.
With your extension, kind of the same conversation I think we kind of had last year. You know, the ability to talk to your staff and say, hey, what can we do to retain you? And
Yeah.
maybe an early jump on that. How do you handle that?
Yeah.
The opportunities that guys will have to play.
Handling it with our staff this time of year, especially when you're winning like we're fortunate to be doing, it's no different than the players with the portal coming. You want to be proactive and have those conversations. At the same time, you want everybody to stay focused on Cal and next week. And it just, again, that's why I think it's the worst thing to have free agency in the middle of your season. It's not fair to the kids more than even anyone else. Like, if you have to sit down with your quarterback or sit down with a really good player and say, hey, man, we really want you here because you know other teams are trying to take them, like, you're having to have those conversations, which is distracting to everyone involved. And now it gets their mindset off of what they should be allowed to focus on. It's no different with the coaches. I think our coaches here know that we want them here, that they're cared about. Some of those conversations happen. You know, you don't want to wait till someone gets an offer to let them know you want them. But at the same time, I think our coaches want to be here, and we want them to leave only if it makes their career better and their life better, and it's a better opportunity for them to advance to achieve their goals. A great example is Johnny Brewer last year. Like, Johnny, it was a great opportunity for him to go be the offensive coordinator at Duke. Look what they're doing. Didn't want to lose Johnny, but like, I'm not going to be selfish. And that's a great opportunity. At one point in time in my career, that was me trying to go take the next step. So because we're winning, we have really good coaches, a lot of younger, middle-aged coaches. Like, people are going to come after them. That's fine. That's flattering to them. It's confirmation of who they are and how good they are and how they've helped us build this program. At the same time, we're going to try to keep them. And so, yes, having the extension out of the way allows us to try to focus on that and have one less thing to deal with. At the same time, they'll all say the same thing I would have said. You know, oh, that's great. I'm focused on this game. You know, and so you're trying to balance those two things. But we're going to be proactive. We're going to try to keep our staff together as long as it's the best thing for them.
You're talking about obviously different things in the season. The signing period moved up to next week, and obviously you're still going to
Yeah.
Is it helpful? Did it hurt? Did it move up? Is it just cosmetic?
We'll know once we go through December, but I think it's helpful. I mean, every little bit helps. We're not going to have to be out, traveling for 2 to 2.5, 3 weeks in December, recruiting the guys that have been committed to us for 6 months to a year to sign a piece of paper. Like, that'll be done. So that part's done. So now you can focus on retaining your own roster, bringing in transfers, and at the same time getting ready for postseason play, whatever that looks like for us. So that's one less thing that's going to be in that moment. So I think moving it up helped. I still think, look, by all means, I think the whole recruiting process is way too sped up. Everything happens to where a lot of times guys develop their senior year, and some get opportunities, but not as many as used to, which is tough in football because it's such a developmental maturation sport, unlike others. That's why the way the calendar is now, we should have a June signing period, because they all take all their official visits. They're all done by the end of June. You've committed everywhere, like 95% of them. Go ahead and sign. Do I think that's best in general? No. If I was designing it from scratch, we wouldn't have a June signing period. But the way the calendar is now, that in January we're going to go out and contact them, and I'm going to go in homes in January of 2026 kids, and then we're going to go through the spring, and they're going to take unofficial visits, and then they're going to take all their OVs April, May, June, and all commit everywhere. Yeah, sign. Let's let them go have their senior year. It's just because not a whole lot's changed from June to now, other than guys who decide they want to flip late, and that's not good for anybody in the long run. So I got off on a tangent there, but yes, I think with all, like you take us for example, we're going to have to play a championship game. We hope we're in a playoff. If not, we're definitely going to be in a bowl game. We're going to be trying to keep our guys here from December 9th to 28th in the window. We're going to be trying to have guys come on campus to fill some spots for us in the transfer world. Not having to have a December 20th high school signing day is a big plus.
Regarding the portal and Richard Smith, I don't know what the extent of communication is with players who have entered the portal, but was part of the pitch to him to come here, we're planning to use you as a running back?
Yeah, and once they're in the portal, you can have open communication, and it's just like if you're recruiting them out of high school or whatever. I think with Richard, and I've said it to some people, it's a little different that once he went into the portal, because we had so many guys here that he had played with at Miami, and because we know him, we were a little more probably communicative with him once he was in the portal to say that we think you're great, but we don't have a spot at receiver. We had Jake Bailey and Roderick Daniels coming back. We had all our outside receivers coming back, and so it was kind of like, so we went for a few weeks almost saying we don't have a spot. And he kept saying, I want to come. And Coach Cooper and some of our other coaches like Coach King, Coach Likens, Coach Justice, who had been at Miami, kept saying, you remember Brashard's really good, right? And then it just became a moment where we go, well, we need to get better running the football. He's really good with the ball in his hands. He's an elite kickoff returner. We watched Isaiah Pacheco play for the Chiefs a little bit, and they had some similar style in our opinion. He's only 10 pounds lighter than Pacheco, and we just said, hey, would you be willing to come here and play running back? If so, we got a spot. And he said yes. So we kind of just said, hey, we're going to go through the spring, and you're going to play only running back. If that doesn't work or is not a fit, then we can reevaluate it and do what we need to do to do what's best for both sides. But, let's see how that works, and he did a good job. It's worked really well.
Do you have one or more staffers who are watching the portal 24/7?
We have an entire recruiting department that's watching the portal 24/7, and we have a staff chat. When someone goes in the portal, that name gets in the chat, and everybody knows so-and-so, Billy Embody went in the portal. And we can quickly say, well, he's not for us. Let's move on,
Going back to the Virginia game, just out of curiosity, and the company's removed, but was the celebration for you kind of locking for Cal more meaningful? I mean, the big game securing that AC title, did it feel more impactful to you at all?
I mean, I think a little bit, just because of the obvious reason. I mean, you've clinched a spot in your championship game. But, the locker room wasn't any different. Post-game on the field, walking to the locker room wasn't any different. Guys were fired up. They're fired up every time we win. We celebrate wins around here because they're hard to come by. And so when we got in the locker room, it was very similar. I actually probably talked less than normal. Passed it off to Coach Grizz because he had recently come from Virginia, and he led Ahmad Walker, who Played his college football before coming here just down the road at Liberty, Break the Rock, and we celebrated, and we got on the plane and we came home. And so we celebrated like crazy, but we really didn't celebrate any different than when we beat Boston College the week before. But our guys knew. I mean, it's like I said, I think post-game, winning at Stanford was a big deal because we clinched bowl eligibility, and winning at Virginia was a big deal because we clinched a spot in the championship game. But they're kind of just like checkpoints along the road of where we want to end up. And so it's part of the process. We're going to celebrate it, but we've moved on,
Brad, I know you guys control what you can control. You can't worry about what other people do. But when you started seeing the outcomes Saturday night, all these SEC upsets, how did that change maybe how you looked at what might happen in the college football playoff?
Yeah, we'll find out tonight how obviously the AP poll and the coaches poll showed some positive changes. We'll see what the committee thinks. Look, that's what makes it exciting for for fans in college football now is that there's 12 teams that get in every week. The regular season matters. 20-plus games matter every week instead of 3. And so we're no different. Like, we'd already won, which is great to play early and flying home. And, yeah, you're watching games going, it'd be better for the Mustangs if that team won. It'd be better for the Mustangs if that team won. And the first 2 weeks of the playoff, the teams that would be better for the Mustangs if they won weren't winning, and we've been in that position where so far our resume hadn't been good enough, so we needed some help, and our guys have done a good job controlling what they can, and hopefully we're continuing to make our resume better to where the committee says, no, they belong in the 12-team playoff. There's still work to be done there. But, yeah, you notice the scores the AP poll and the coaches poll will tell you they went in our favor. Let's see what the committee thinks. But, the more teams with 3 losses, the better it probably looks for teams with 1 loss or maybe 2 or even better, teams that are playing in their championship game. That has to mean something. If you're able to go undefeated in your league or even 7-1 and you're playing in a championship game and another team has the same league record or overall record and they didn't make their championship game, that has to mean something, I hope.
I remember you talked about it post-game. What was going through your head when Kevin made that play where he spun out of, I think, 3 tackles or something?
Which one? Because there was a couple of them. The one where he went left and then went back right and threw it to Roderick?
Yes, that one.
That's just Saturday with Kevin. That whole running around stuff, I'm usually probably just thinking hold on to the ball. Now, the real one that was a big no yes moment was the one we scrambled and hit Keyshawn. Because when he let the ball go, it didn't look like it was going to end well for us, and it did. So it was an incredible throw. But he does a good job of having really good field awareness, not only downfield to find guys, but knowing what's around him when he is moving around. So that was a good job by him on the particular play because they dropped 8. It wasn't great. We only had 3 guys in a route, so nobody was open. And, he went to the left. Nobody was there. And I think he just showed his athleticism. He knows – but at that time, he knows the speed of the game and who we're playing. He knew he could get back to the other side. And our guys have done a really good job the last few weeks of – and our staff's done a good job of coaching the scramble drill more because as we've gotten to know Kevin, that's going to happen. And I think you've seen a lot of big plays lately. And, again, Junior got open and he hit him.
When you go back to the conversations around the extension, if you can, just kind of share what the overall conversations were like as far as the continued alignment from the university perspective and maybe some things that you would want to see or if you can share any of that. Just about what's next to keep pushing this program forward?
Yeah, I think there's great alignment. Honestly, it wasn't a real complicated process. I don't know the exact date. It was either after the Duke or the Pitt game, one of those that, Rick and I first started just kind of having some conversations. And candidly, I just told him, I want to be here. I'm going to focus on us trying to keep winning. And so he, the way it works, they communicate with your agents, and you just kind of let that happen. So it's not a distraction anymore, and it has to be. But I wanted to be here. It's great to know that we were wanted here. And so when you kind of both have the same objective, it's usually pretty smooth. But I think from Rick to Dr. Turner to David and the board, we were all in alignment there. And I'm kind of not one of those to be like, okay, I want to stay, so this is what it's going to take. That's not me. I want this and I want to stay, you want me to stay, let's work that out. And then on the back end, in good faith, hey, here's 3 or 4 things I think we need to do to continue our ascent let's work on that. And I trust them, and to me, that's what's important. It's not, well, I want to be here, but there's some, ulterior motive or something. What's the right word I'm looking for? Demands or, like, hey, this is what it's going to. No, man, nobody wants to do business with someone like that. I don't. Same way in the portal. I want to be here, but, well, hold on now. Do you want to be here or do you want to be here if? No, I want to be here. So let's get that done and not worry about it. And then let's try to figure out together how we can make it even better and the best we can be. And that's just kind of how I've approached it. And that's how we did it. So there wasn't a whole lot of, hey, I need this, this, and this. It was, I want to be here. We want you here. Let's make it work. And we did it pretty smooth and real quick. There wasn't a whole lot of stress involved.
As you gear up for the postseason, how much are you able to integrate or reintegrate guys that have maybe been redshirted
Yeah.
this year, been out there and come to
Good question. So, like, Adam Moore can now play unlimited. Like, Adam played 2 games ago. He only had 1 game left. He couldn't play last week unless we just had to have him. But he can play now. He can play tomorrow or Saturday. He can play in the championship game. He can play in the postseason, and he saves this year. That's great. Derek McFall, we have him available now. We've been waiting because he played a couple games early in the year when we were getting banged up. Could have probably used him Saturday, honestly, because Bouchard was banged up and LJ was getting tired, but we didn't. And because of that, now he's ready to roll, and so that gives us some added depth now at running back. Romello was banged up a lot early in the year. So we're 1 game away from hopefully getting him back. If we're able to get through this one, then he would be available in the championship game and further. There's probably a couple guys on defense. We did that with Mike Sanjo because he was hurt earlier in the year. So, yeah, you get to the point where after we get through Saturday's game, pretty much everybody's available, which is nice, especially when we've stayed pretty healthy on defense. We've continued to have skill guys drop on offense, and we've just kind of kept it together. And so any little bit of added depth there helps.
Any update on his work meds?
He's in protocol, and so we're hopeful he will get out of it in time to play, but it's unknown right now.
You started talking earlier about how good Cal is overall. Defensively, they have a really good run defense. How's your team, Kevin, your passing game kind of adapted when people started kind of focusing on Bouchard and what he can do?
Yeah.
How your team developed?
I think that's been our biggest key. We're not the best running team in the country, and we're not the best passing team in the country, but we're one of the more balanced teams in the country. And I think, the last couple of weeks you've seen, okay, well, we got to stop number 1. Let's get everybody, and that's smart, just what we try to do. But I think our outside receivers and Kevin have really stepped up the last few weeks. You look at what Jordan and Moochie and Keyshawn have done, the last 2 or 3 games. I think probably Pitt, BC, and Virginia. That's been big. With RJ being out, I think Matt Hibner's been stepping up too, and Roderick Daniels has just been a stud. But that's probably where I think we've adapted and adjusted the most is if you're going to do this and give us the one-on-ones, we can win consistently. And if you want to go back to doing the other thing, well, we can run it. And that's the balance that we need. That's what good offenses can do. It's what we're going to have to continue to do against really good defenses because, good defenses do a couple things. 1, they don't let you be that explosive. 2, they can stop the run. And 3, they take away what you do best. That's what I've always thought good defenses do. Good DCs take away what you do best, and they make you beat them with something else. And so I expect us to have to do some things Saturday that maybe – it's not exactly the preferred method for us, but we're going to have to adapt and find other ways to win and move the ball against a good defense. And so having that balance helps us do that.
I don't think many students 2-3 years ago or even at the beginning of the season could have predicted that this would be the end. At the beginning of the season, did you have a feeling that it would ramp up to this, or were you just taking it game by game?
That's a great – I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I just knew we would be 10-1, clinched the championship game spot with a game to go. I did believe we had what it takes to compete at this level. Could we stay healthy? Could a couple of the close games, you look at Duke and Louisville, could those go our way versus kind of how it's gone the other way for Cal? That's the only real difference. Like I said, they should be 9-2 or better. So some of those things you just never know every year, no matter how good or bad your team is. Like there's a little bit of that. I was really – I don't want to say concerned. What I didn't know is, okay, how well are we going to hold up in the trenches, running the ball and stopping the run, and how well are we going to hold up in terms of our depth? That was not was telling y'all the truth. Like, that's what our goal was. That's what we knew we had to do, and we did the best we could. And I felt like if that did happen, that we could get to November and at least be in contention. I didn't know what that would look like because I knew the league well, but also I didn't think that we would beat Florida State the way we did, and then they would be last in our league. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that you can't predict. But I knew we had a chance. And just because I knew the makeup of the guys, what we'd done the year before, like, we started in fall camp. We have walkthroughs a lot in fall camp, and then you still do it on Mondays and Thursdays in season. And offense wears, I think, blue, defense wears red shirts, just in case we ever do stuff together. And usually, I don't know, either Coach Grizz or Frank, they just put something on the shirt. I don't know. But I told them before fall camp, I said, I want to put defending champs on the shirt. And so our walkthrough shirts have said defending champs since August because that's what we were. We weren't in the league anymore. Like, we're defending champs. We hadn't done it in 40 years. Like, you win a championship, part of that is you get to come back the next year as the defending champ. And I just wanted our guys to kind of have that mindset of, no, like, we've done this. We've done this before. Actually, we just did it. And we are defending champs. Now, we may not be defending the ACC, but we're defending champs. So let's act like it. Let's believe it. Let's know that's who we are. And then, maybe we'll figure out a way to play like it. And they have.
But you're still wearing those shirts?
Last question.
Yeah. They still wear them on every Monday and every Thursday. So it's kind of what we do. We haven't talked about it since August, but yeah, that was the whole. I think that was the whole point. And not that we thought it was going to win us any games, but there's a mindset and a mentality like, no, man, like, let's carry ourselves like defending champs because was there 10 or 11 conferences in America? So coming in this year, there was like 10 or 11 schools that could say they were defending champs, and we were one of them. So let's carry ourselves that way.